You ever hear a story so wild, so full of heartbreak and guts and straight-up love, it just grabs you by the collar and shakes something loose inside? That's what happened to me. I still remember the day. It started like a punchline that's all set up, no laugh at the end. Not yet anyway. So, let me just say it straight. If you think money can fix everything, let me back up a sec and tell you about the time a billionaire's power came up short, and a woman nobody noticed pulled off the real miracle. Yeah, that happened. I know what you're thinking. This is one of those rich folks drama stories, right? But stick with me, because what happened in that house still gets talked about in hospitals, in boardrooms, all over, and not for the reasons you'd expect. Her name was Emily, 6 years old, the only child of Richard, who could buy anything except more time. She'd been a little off for a few weeks, tired, running fevers. Not herself, and when they took her in, the diagnosis slammed down like a door shutting for good. Rare cancer, spreading fast, treatments failing one by one. The best doctors, the newest drugs, private rooms with city views. You name it, none of it touched what was happening inside that little girl's body. Richard did what any parent with infinite resources would do. Flew in experts, hired round-the-clock nurses, even tried experimental stuff overseas. Still, every update from the white coats was worse than the last. And the worst part? You can't fight cancer with money. Not when the clock's already ticking. You ever sit in a hospital room at 3 a.m., all the machines making their little noises, pretending you can keep your mind busy with work emails or sport highlights, when really all you want is for your kid to open her eyes? That was Richard, day after day, except he never let Emily see him cry. He told her stories about her Momo woman she'd never meet. Gone the day Emily was born, painted her as beautiful, kind, strong. Emily listened, sometimes smiled, sometimes stared at the photo on the shelf, just quiet. 3 months left, the doctor said. Maybe less. Nobody said it out loud, but everybody felt it. And in the middle of all that, Emily, sweet, frail, smarter than she looked, just wanted a birthday party. Not a miracle, not a trip to Disneyland, just a real birthday with cake, music, friends, a dress with sparkles. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's the smallest asks that hit the hardest. Richard promised he'd throw her the best party ever. He called everyone. The hospital let him use a big room. Nurses taped up purple balloons, her favorite color. Friends made cards. Her teacher sent a stuffed bear. One nurse even brought a little crown. Emily's laugh, weak but there, bounced off the walls. It almost felt normal. But while Richard organized and the nurses bustled, the one who kept it all together was Amaranth, housekeeper. Yeah, but that word doesn't cover a fraction of what she was. She'd been with them since Emily was a baby, stepped up when Richard's wife died, never asked for more than her paycheck, but somehow managed to give more than anyone else. Mommy number 2, Emily called her, without ever needing to be told. It just fit. Let me say this. Amara had her own ghosts. She lost a sister as a child, watched sickness take someone she loved because there was no money, no hope. So when she rocked Emily through fevers, held her for shots, brushed her hair after all of it fell out, she wasn't just being paid. She was keeping a promise, the kind you make in your bones. Now, here's where you might expect things to wind down, fade to black. Not this time. That birthday party was more than a celebration. It was the beginning of something raw and real. Late that night, after the streamers were down and the cake was gone, Emily, eyes big as ever, whispered, "Am I going to live, Mommy?" She didn't mean Richard. She meant Amara. The question gutted her. And you could feel in that second, something inside the house shifted. Amara didn't lie. She just held her, whispering, "I'm here. I'm not leaving you." Which is exactly what she meant, because in that moment, Amara decided that if nobody else was going to save Emily, she would. Here's where the story tilts, where you see the cracks in the system. Amara, desperate, starts Googling every night while the world sleeps. She reads about living liver donors, about rare matches, about the crazy odds. Most of the time, it's family who can do it, but she goes for the test anyway, without telling anyone. The odds? Slim to none. But sometimes, the universe surprises you. She's a perfect match. Not kind of close, not maybe with some luck. Perfect. Blood, tissue, enzymes. It's a miracle. She runs to the hospital, paperwork in hand, heart pounding, explains everything how she's been there for Emily since day one, how this is her child in every way that matters. The answer? A cold, hard no. Hospital policy. Legal risk. Not your child. Not your right. They say it's not personal. Sure felt personal to her. You'd think that'd be the end, right? Most folks would stop there. Amara just gets more stubborn. She tells Richard, who's terrified, can't stand the thought of losing both of them. So he begs her not to do it. But this fight isn't about rules or what makes a family on paper. It's about love, the kind that breaks protocol and bends the world when it has to. So Amara goes rogue, finds a hospital overseas willing to take the case, forges the paperwork, buys the tickets, convinces a sympathetic nurse to help. She grabs Emily, says they're going for special treatment, and flies out while Richard's on a business trip. Yeah, it sounds wild, but sometimes you do what you gotta do. The surgery is risky as hell. 2 rooms, 2 lives, 1 shot. The surgeon, Dr. Salim, has lost a daughter of his own, so he gets it. He takes no chances. Amara's liver is cut, Emily's failing organ is swapped out, and for 13 hours the world stops spinning. Back in the States, Richard's phone rings. A stranger's voice says, "Your daughter is in surgery." He nearly collapses. By the time he gets there, it's done. Emily is pale, but alive. Amara's still in a coma, clinging on. Richard just sits between their beds, praying, bargaining, finally realizing what love really means. Days crawl by. Emily wakes up first, cheeks pink, asking for cake. The cancer starts shrinking. The doctors shake their heads no one expected a turnaround like this. Still, Emily asks for her mommy number 2 every hour, every day. And finally, on the 5th day, Amara opens her eyes. There's no speech, no fanfare. Just tears, hands clutching. The room's so full of relief you can barely breathe. Word gets out first inside the hospital, then everywhere. Nurses whisper, reporters call. The story of a woman who broke every rule to save a girl who called her mommy. Hospital boards get nervous, lawyers panic, policies start to change. For every critic, there are 100 voices calling it what it is, courage. But Amara? She wants none of it. Refuses the awards, the interviews, the magazine covers. She just wants to see Emily laugh, heal, grow. She wants a quiet kitchen, sunlight on the garden, and a little hand in hers. Richard gets it now. He's different, too. He works less, lives more, realizes family's not just who you're tied to by blood or paperwork, but who shows up when the world says no. A year later, the house is alive again. Emily's hair is back. Her cheeks are pink. She runs through the yard in a yellow dress. Cake smeared on her chin. Friends screaming with laughter. On the table, next to the old family photo, sits a letter, Amara's letter, the one she wrote before surgery. If I don't wake up, know that mommy said yes. That's all the explanation anyone needs. And here's the twist that gets me every time. The world keeps arguing about rules and headlines and who's allowed to do what. But in that house, love wins. Simple as that. Real, messy, bone-deep love enough to break laws, cross oceans, change lives. So you tell me, is it right? Should systems change? Or do we need rules for a reason? Como bido? Let me know where you stand, because if you ask me, sometimes the heart knows what's right long before the law ever catches up. That's the kind of miracle I believe in. And I'd love to hear yours.